and I have been so deeply moved and humbled by their truly remarkable courage and by their selfless capacity for forgiveness, despite all that they have suffered.
King Charles can finally share what happened is sure to make jaws drop. For decades, rumors and whispers surrounded the real story behind Charles and Diana's marriage, leaving fans with burning questions. Now, after years of regret and hidden truth, Charles is ready to spill the details that could change everything we thought we knew. From unexpected revelations to shocking confessions, nothing remains off limits in this tell-all.
And I also wanted to say how particularly moved and enormously comforted my children and I were, and indeed still are, by the public response to Diana's death.
Are you ready to hear the scandal that could rewrite entire royal history? Early spotlight on King Charles. From the moment he was born on November 14, 1948, King Charles lived in the public eye like few others. Being the first child of Queen Elizabeth II placed him in line for the British throne at just a few years old. As soon as his mother succeeded to the throne in 1952, Charles's every move became news. Journalists and photographers followed him constantly, capturing everything from his first steps to his school outings. This early attention brought both excitement and hardship. On one hand, Charles enjoyed privileges such as living in grand palaces and traveling around the world with his parents. On the other hand, the weight of future responsibility cast a long shadow. He could not simply play outside without a chaperone, or make casual friends without those friendships ending up in the papers. Knowing that he would eventually become king brought an expectation of perfect behavior and never-ending etiquette lessons. As a child, Charles took part in public events that most people never experience. He had to attend formal ceremonies, greet dignitaries, and smile for countless photographs. His parents were often busy with their own duties, so he sometimes felt distant from them. This early exposure to royal life taught him that leadership is more than just ribbon cutting and waving. It involves representing an entire nation and keeping up an image of respect and tradition. Yet Charles remained a curious young boy, eager to learn. He loved the outdoors, playing sports and exploring nature whenever possible. Despite all the ceremony around him, he tried to embrace any normal childhood moment he could find. This dual existence, being both a young heir and a child wanting freedom, shaped his perspective on duty and personal happiness. Over the years, the world watched him grow, picking apart every detail of his upbringing, from his choice of school to his friendships. While the spotlight was harsh, it also formed him into the resolute individual he would become. He learned to handle media pressure, stand by his values, and balance tradition with personal growth. Those early years in the public eye laid the groundwork for his eventual role as Britain's monarch. Challenging childhood. Although King Charles was born into privilege, his childhood was far from easy. In public, he seemed to have it all: a royal title, a future throne, and enrollment in prestigious schools. But behind the castle walls, he faced emotional hurdles that shaped who he is today. He often spoke of feeling somewhat isolated, since his parents, Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, had demanding schedules and many official duties. As a result, they were often away, leaving young Charles under the care of nannies and tutors. He once admitted that his parents could be both physically and emotionally distant. Growing up under such circumstances, he struggled to find genuine warmth and affection. Many times his reserved nature was misunderstood as aloofness, but it stemmed from a lack of open, playful interaction within his family. Like any sensitive child, he longed for approval and closeness. Additionally, constant media attention made it hard for him to form normal friendships. Classmates sometimes teased him, either because of his royal status or his gentle nature. While many assumed being a prince meant an easy life, it actually invited extra scrutiny. Every quirk or emotion he showed sparked feedback from both peers and the wider public. This pressure taught him to shield his feelings, shaping the more guarded side of his personality that people would later observe. However, these hardships also contributed to his ability to empathize with others, since he knew how it felt to be lonely and misunderstood. Charles developed a softer side. In time, he became known for his desire to protect the environment and uplift charitable causes. There is a belief that his early emotional battles gave him a strong sense of compassion for the struggles of everyday people. Overcoming a challenging childhood was no small feat. Charles had to navigate formal expectations, media glare, and his own yearning for unconditional love. These factors fueled both his insecurities and his determination to do well by his future subjects. In many ways, his youthful trials served as stepping stones toward a more empathetic approach to leadership, highlighting how even a prince can grow through adversity. Gordonstoun School Experience. Gordonstoun School became a defining chapter of King Charles's youth. Founded by German educator Kurt Hahn, the school was known for its strict discipline, outdoor challenges, and emphasis on self-reliance. Prince Philip, Charles's father, believed that Gordonstoun would make his son tougher, more independent, and ready for the demands of royal life. Though the school was among the most respected in the United Kingdom, it was also notorious for its rigorous routines. For young Charles, the transition was tough. He was a sensitive boy, more inclined toward quiet reflection than braving cold mornings and adventure drills. At Gordonstoun, students were expected to wake up early to take cold showers, keep their dormitories spotless, and participate in various sports. The school highlighted character growth through hardship, a principle that clashed with Charles's gentle manner. He found the days exhausting and sometimes felt overwhelmed by the physical demands and the teasing he faced from classmates. Still, he would later admit that his time at Gordonstoun shaped his resilience and helped him discover inner strengths. He learned how to handle criticism, adapt to unfamiliar settings, and rely on himself in challenging situations. In a 1975 interview, he reflected that the school taught him much about his own abilities, hinting that the difficulties sparked personal growth. He also said that his father's insistence on sending him there, though harsh at times, forced him to confront the real world in ways a pampered prince rarely would. Beyond discipline, Gordonstoun offered Charles opportunities in leadership. The school believed in giving senior students responsibility to oversee younger ones, which helped Charles practice guiding and supporting peers. He also found moments to appreciate nature, exploring the rugged landscape surrounding the campus. That closeness with nature might have nurtured his lifelong advocacy for environmental causes. Despite the strictness, he later expressed gratitude for his Gordonstoun experience. While he often joked that his father's choice of school was a harsh move for someone so sensitive, he ultimately acknowledged its benefits. By enduring trials of physical endurance, structure, and teamwork, Charles discovered personal qualities that would serve him well as he prepared for the responsibilities of a future king. University Education King. Charles's choice to attend university was a defining moment that broke royal tradition and sparked debate within the British royal family. Typically, heirs to the throne were expected to enter military service straight after their formal schooling. However, Charles had other plans. After completing his A-levels at Gordonstoun, he announced his intent to pursue a degree at the University of Cambridge. Many in the royal circle were uneasy about this decision, fearing it might reflect poorly on him as a future monarch. Critics claimed it showed a lack of discipline and a desire to dodge the rigors of military life. Yet Charles stood firm, determined to prove that scholarship and service could go hand in hand. Despite the stir it caused, his time at Cambridge became an invaluable experience. He studied anthropology, archaeology, and history, eventually earning a second-class lower Bachelor of Arts, an achievement that made him the first British heir apparent to receive a university degree. During his studies, the media kept a close watch on his every move. Reports of Charles strolling through campus with classmates or attending social events always made headlines, reflecting a public keenly curious about how he would balance academic pursuits with his royal obligations. For Charles, this period was about more than attending lectures and writing essays. It allowed him a taste of relative independence, a chance to mingle with fellow students and immerse himself in intellectual debate. He engaged in discussions ranging from historical events to global challenges, broadening his cultural awareness. This exposure seemed to strengthen his worldview and shape his future philanthropic interests. In particular, experiencing life beyond palace walls helped him understand ordinary people's struggles, an understanding that would later influence his passion for charitable causes. Still, not everyone was so accepting of his academic adventure. Some family members felt that time spent away from official duties hindered his readiness for the crown. Yet, Charles's resolve only grew stronger in the face of doubt. Even as tension brewed within the royal household, he persisted, focusing on exams and forming friendships that would last for years. Military career. After earning his university degree, King Charles turned his attention to the military, a path many had expected him to follow from the start. Criticism had built up when he initially postponed his service, with voices suggesting he feared the harsh environment. Yet Charles was determined to prove otherwise. Early in his second year at Cambridge, he requested Royal Air Force training, surprising both the public and members of his family. This move signaled his readiness to take on physically and mentally demanding challenges. Charles began his preparatory instruction by studying a range of technical subjects, including aerodynamics, navigation, and aviation medicine. According to Air Chief Marshal Sir Richard Johns, who oversaw parts of Charles's training, the young man displayed remarkable concentration and a fierce determination to excel. While critics still questioned whether a sensitive prince could handle strict discipline, Charles's instructors saw a different side, a focused student who refused to fail. His military journey didn't end with the RAF. Charles soon embarked on a career in the Royal Navy, following in the footsteps of his father and grandfather. He took an accelerated course at Britannia Royal Naval College, quickly adjusting to life on ships, destroyers, and frigates. Over time, he served as a gunnery officer on the HMS Minerva and took on responsibilities that tested both his leadership and technical skills. His active involvement in real operations, such as monitoring a Soviet submarine, showcased his calm under pressure and willingness to adapt to life at sea. One highlight of Charles's service was his development as a pilot. He spent countless hours in the cockpit, perfecting maneuvers and formation flying. His dedication paid off when he earned the Double Diamond Trophy, marking him as one of the top pilots in his class. Eventually, Charles advanced to commanding officer of the minesweeper HMS Brownington, where he led a small crew through routine exercises and real missions involving leftover World War II ordnance. By December 1976, he concluded his active military career with the rank of commander. Though some once doubted his ability to withstand rigorous training, he left with a record that spoke volumes about his commitment and skill. In many ways, his time in uniform demonstrated that a future monarch could balance tradition with personal ambition, all while earning the respect of both royal and military circles. It was one more stepping stone on a journey that would soon lead him to a deeply complex chapter of life. Meeting Princess Diana. Meeting Princess Diana. The story of King Charles meeting Princess Diana often leads to mention of a shooting party hosted by Diana's older sister, Sarah. But according to Charles himself, their very first meeting happened in a less glamorous setting, a freshly plowed field. In that moment, Diana was a shy 16-year-old, while Charles was in his late 20s, dating Sarah. Despite the age gap and the prince's existing relationship, Diana captured Charles's attention. He was charmed by her youthful spirit and unique warmth, but with his eyes fixed on Sarah at the time, he barely acted on those feelings. Not long after, Charles joined Sarah for a ski trip, and their blossoming relationship was widely documented by the media, who celebrated them as a potential match. Behind the scenes, though, something else was happening. During a gathering at Sarah's invitation, Charles and Diana ended up talking in private. She led him on a brief tour of her home's gallery, and he found her kindness and energy irresistible, even if he couldn't publicly show it. Meanwhile, Diana was flattered by the prince's genuine interest. Yet the situation was far from simple. Sarah was still very much in the picture. In a surprising twist, Sarah herself ended up ending the relationship with Charles. She gave a frank interview to a magazine, boldly stating she was not in love with him, nor had any intention of marrying into the royal family. The public was stunned, considering how they had seemed happy together during their ski outings. Within months, Sarah married someone else, causing the media to pivot and focus on the evolving connection between Charles and Diana. With Sarah now out of the equation, Charles felt freer to pursue the younger sister who had captivated him from that first encounter. Still, there were unavoidable concerns about their 12-year age difference and Diana's limited experience with the public eye. Undeterred, they began seeing more of each other. The royal family, always conscious of appearances, kept a close watch on their dates, intrigued by the possibility that Diana might be a suitable bride for the future king. Marriage to Diana. The marriage of King Charles and Princess Diana was hailed as the event of the century, a dazzling ceremony watched by hundreds of millions worldwide. From the outside, it looked like the ultimate fairy tale. Royal pomp, horse-drawn carriages, and a stunning bride adored by onlookers everywhere she went. Yet beneath the grand displays of love and pageantry, trouble brewed. Diana, who was only 20 when she wed the future king, soon found that royal life was far more complex than she had imagined. One early warning sign came during their engagement interview. When asked if they were in love, Diana confidently said yes, but Charles replied, "Whatever in love means." His awkward response drew public concern, and privately, Diana admitted that it hurt. Troubles mounted further during their engagement when she discovered Charles had purchased a gift for his ex-girlfriend, Camilla Parker Bowles. Though Diana considered calling off the wedding, she pressed on, buoyed by her sister's support, but harboring deep fears about Charles's loyalty. Their wedding day remained a spectacle of joy, at least to the millions watching on television. Behind the scenes, however, cracks formed in the marriage almost immediately. Diana struggled with the relentless scrutiny of the press and the expectations placed on her as a royal wife. Charles, meanwhile, did little to hide his lingering attachment to Camilla, fueling Diana's worries and later her heartbreak. Over time, the emotional strain took a visible toll. Diana spoke openly about her feelings of inadequacy, and Charles, unsure how to handle her distress, seemed to drift further away. Eventually, the rumors of Charles's ongoing affair became impossible to ignore. Diana confronted Camilla directly, pleading for her to leave Charles alone. When that failed, the tension boiled over, leaving Diana feeling more isolated than ever. The media, hungry for drama, devoured every hint of conflict. The final blow arrived when intimate phone conversations between Charles and Camilla leaked to the press, exposing the true extent of their relationship. Faced with a scandal that rocked the monarchy, Charles publicly admitted the affair. A deeply wounded Diana, in turn, shared her side in televised interviews, famously remarking that, "There were 3 of us in this marriage." In 1992, they formally separated, finalizing their divorce in 1996. What began as a fairy tale had become a cautionary story of love, betrayal, and public intrusion, forever shaping how the world viewed the House of Windsor and the couple at its center. Infidelity and marital troubles. The marriage of King Charles and Princess Diana was once the world's favorite fairy tale, but underlying tensions and hidden affections soon cast a shadow over their union. Early on, Diana sensed Charles's lingering fondness for his former flame, Camilla Parker Bowles. Although Diana hoped that marriage and motherhood would draw Charles closer, those dreams gradually faded as Camilla remained in the picture. Hurt and confused, Diana confronted Charles about the gift he had bought Camilla shortly before their wedding, an omen that her new life might not be a peaceful one. Taking on royal duties brought more public attention, leaving little room for private resolutions. Diana tried to hold her marriage together despite feeling increasingly overshadowed by Camilla's presence. Pleas and direct confrontations proved fruitless. Charles, meanwhile, seemed torn between his sense of duty to Diana and his emotional history with Camilla. Eventually, their marital strain spilled over into media reports, fueling endless tabloid gossip. Every time Diana appeared at a public event looking downcast or teary-eyed, the press speculated about Charles's behavior and the cracks in their relationship. The unsustainable tension came to a head when intimate phone conversations between Charles and Camilla leaked, confirming beyond doubt that the prince had continued his affair. The tapes featured candid exchanges, revealing the depth of their emotional bond. As these calls became front-page news, any hope of salvaging the royal marriage dimmed. In a bid to manage the crisis, Charles sat down for a televised interview where he finally admitted to cheating on Diana. This public confession shattered the prince's carefully managed image of respectability and left Diana feeling betrayed on a global stage. Although the divorce was still months away, the emotional damage was done. Diana's heartbreak and Charles's public mea culpa generated an unending storm of media scrutiny. Many who had idolized Charles for his dedication to royal duty now questioned his character. Some sympathized with Diana, seeing her as a young woman thrust into an unforgiving spotlight and betrayed by her husband's continued closeness to Camilla. Others blamed both sides, arguing that royal life created pressures no marriage could endure. By the time legal separation became official, the couple's relationship had devolved into a series of painful headlines and regretful revelations. What started as a storybook wedding in front of nearly 1 billion onlookers turned into a cautionary tale of unresolved past relationships, public obsession, and the heavy toll of infidelity on even the most glamorous unions. Diana's struggles and legacy. When Diana entered the royal family, many saw her as the embodiment of a real-life Cinderella. A shy young nursery school assistant swept up in a dazzling romance with the future king. Yet almost from the start, she struggled beneath the intense spotlight and the rigid protocols of royal life. Her natural warmth often clashed with the formal reserve expected of a princess, and every misstep drew tabloid headlines. Over time, these pressures took a serious emotional toll, leaving her feeling isolated and unsure of whom to trust. Beyond her marital woes, Diana battled personal insecurities. She spoke candidly about her struggle with bulimia, which she traced directly to the emotional pain and self-doubt she experienced in her relationship with Charles. Whenever she felt anxious about an upcoming event or a perceived rejection, the pressure became unbearable. Her willingness to open up about bulimia shattered royal norms, exposing a frank vulnerability that endeared her to millions who recognized their own battles in her story. Despite these struggles, Diana found her own voice and sense of purpose through humanitarian work. Early on, she displayed a gift for connecting with people from all walks of life. Children facing critical illness, victims of poverty, and those living with HIV/AIDS all found a compassionate ally in Diana, who wasn't afraid to kneel down, embrace them, and show a human touch that broke centuries of royal formality. This empathy became a hallmark of her public persona, earning her the nickname, the People's Princess. Even as her marriage unraveled, Diana's global reputation soared, buoyed by her devotion to charitable causes. She visited hospitals, comforted the sick, and championed controversial topics like landmine clearance. Though her personal life remained fraught with heartbreak, Diana's work on behalf of the marginalized offered a sense of meaning. In telling the world about her own pain, she helped to break stigmas surrounding mental health while using her platform to shine a spotlight on overlooked communities. By the time she and Charles divorced, Diana's place in history had already been secured. Her tragic death in 1997 only cemented her status as a beloved icon whose struggles made her relatable and whose compassion inspired countless others. Today, her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, carry her legacy forward with their own charitable projects and public engagements. Through them and the countless lives she touched, Diana's spirit endures, reminding the world of the power in empathy, vulnerability, and the courage to speak one's truth.
I asked my brother, I said, what are your plans? How are you and Kate getting up there? And then a couple of hours later, all of the family members that live within the Windsor and Ascot area were jumping on a plane together, plane with 12, 14, maybe 16 seats.
You were not invited on that
I
plane.
was not invited.
Deep under Buckingham Palace, where no one was ever supposed to look, something was hiding. A long, dark tunnel, hidden for who knows how many years. No one knew it was there. Until now. When the FBI and British investigators uncovered the passage, they thought it was just another forgotten tunnel. But the second they stepped inside, everything changed. Their faces went pale. Their hands started shaking. Because what they found wasn't just old or mysterious. It was something no one was ever meant to see. And the biggest question of all, who built this? And what were they trying so hard to hide? The discovery of the secret tunnel. It all started with a tiny mistake. Something so small that at first nobody thought much of it. A maintenance worker inside Buckingham Palace was doing a routine check in the basement. Nothing exciting, just another regular day on the job. He was fixing an underground pipe when he noticed something strange. As he walked across the stone floor, one of the tiles beneath his feet sounded hollow. At first he thought nothing of it, but the sound stuck in his mind. So, out of curiosity, he knocked on the floor again. Hollow. He knocked again. This time, louder. Echo. That's when he knew there was empty space beneath the floor. He reported it to palace security, thinking it might be a structural problem, maybe an old storage room, maybe an abandoned basement. Who knew? But what happened next changed everything. That very night, security cameras in the palace picked up something even more bizarre. One of the basement floor tiles, the same one the worker had knocked on, had shifted overnight. No one had touched it. No one had been down there. Yet somehow, between midnight and early morning, the floor had moved. Now, this wasn't a haunted house, and this wasn't supposed to happen inside one of the most secure buildings in the world. By morning, officials were called in to investigate. At first, they thought it might be a sinkhole or maybe just old, unstable flooring. But when they finally lifted that loose tile, they found something that no one expected. A hidden staircase, leading straight downward. The air that rose from it was cold. Not the kind of cold you'd expect from an old basement. This was deeper, older. A cold that felt like it had been trapped for centuries. That's when the FBI got involved. Now you might be wondering, why would the FBI care about a tunnel under Buckingham Palace? Well, here's the thing. For years, intelligence agencies had been investigating missing historical artifacts, rare items, documents, and treasures that had vanished without a trace. Some believed these priceless objects weren't lost at all. Some believed they were hidden. And some even whispered rumors of secret tunnels beneath London, leading to places the public was never meant to find. So when this underground passage was discovered, the FBI, along with British intelligence officers, had to act fast. Because if this tunnel was connected to something bigger, it meant history had been hiding a very dark secret. Entering the tunnel. The moment they stepped inside, it felt like stepping into another world. The tunnel was narrow, barely wide enough for two people to walk side by side. The walls were made of ancient bricks, some crumbling, others covered in moss. The air was damp and heavy, carrying the smell of earth, stone, and something else. Something old. The deeper they went, the more the air changed. It wasn't just cold anymore. It was thick. It clung to their skin, as if the tunnel itself had been sealed off for so long that even the air didn't belong to this time. Then, they saw something that shouldn't have been there. Footprints, fresh ones. Now think about this. If this tunnel had been hidden for centuries, no one should have been down here. So who had left these? And how recently? The agents exchanged nervous glances. Was someone else down here with them? They pressed forward, flashlights cutting through the darkness. And then, they saw something even stranger. A single torch, still burning. That's when their stomachs dropped. If the tunnel had been abandoned for hundreds of years, then that flame shouldn't exist. Someone had lit it recently. But who? And where were they now? They pushed deeper. The tunnel stretched farther than they expected. The walls changed, shifting from neatly stacked bricks to rough, jagged stone, as if parts of the tunnel had been carved by hand. That's when they saw the first sign of something truly disturbing. A stack of wooden crates, half broken, covered in dust. One had split open, revealing documents so old that the paper looked like it would crumble with a single touch. The agents carefully pulled one out. The writing was faded, but the moment they saw it, their blood ran cold. Latin. Handwritten. Old royal seals stamped across the pages. Were these secret documents from the past? Lost records? Hidden messages? But before they could examine further, they noticed the tunnel took a sharp turn. And at the very end of that turn, a massive, rusted iron door. It stood half buried in the stone, its edges sealed tight with something that looked like wax or old cement. One of the agents stepped forward, reaching out to touch it. The metal was ice cold, even though the tunnel wasn't freezing. Then, as his fingers brushed the surface, thud, a sound from the other side. They froze. Everyone turned to each other, eyes wide. Was something in there? The agent hesitated, then pressed his ear against the metal. Silence. Then, another thud. This time, louder. This time, closer. The FBI agents pulled back, exchanging glances. Some of them wanted to open it, others weren't so sure. But before they could make a decision, the door shuddered, like someone or something was trying to get out. At this point, the team had a choice. Do they open the door, or do they seal this tunnel forever? Whatever was behind it, someone had locked it away. The real question was, why? And more importantly, what if it was never meant to be found? Who knew about this tunnel? Now here's the big question. Did the royal family know about this tunnel? I mean, think about it. Buckingham Palace has been standing for hundreds of years. You'd expect that the people living inside would know every inch of it, right? But what if they didn't? Let's say the tunnel was built centuries ago. Maybe it was dug long before Buckingham Palace even existed in its current form. Maybe it was once connected to an older building that stood here before. That would mean the royal family might not have known about it at all. But then again, how could they not know? We're talking about a tunnel right beneath their feet. Could it be that some members of the royal family were aware of it, but they kept it a secret? What if this tunnel was used for something they didn't want the public to know about? Maybe secret meetings? Maybe something even darker. And here's another thought. If the royal family didn't know, then who did? Someone had to build it. Someone had to use it. And most importantly, someone had to keep it hidden for all these years. So, who were they? If not the royal family, then who built it? And why? All right, let's assume for a moment that the tunnel wasn't built by the royals. That opens up a whole new set of possibilities. Could it have been built by a secret society? Maybe a group of spies? Or could it have been made for something even more mysterious? London is a city full of history, and throughout the years, it has been home to many powerful people. Kings, queens, politicians, war strategists, and even criminals. Maybe this tunnel was built as an escape route for someone important. Maybe it was a passage for spies during a war. And here's a chilling idea. What if it wasn't just used for transportation? What if this tunnel had a darker purpose? Imagine this. Centuries ago, someone, maybe a secret organization, dug this tunnel and used it to smuggle things. Or even people. Could it have been connected to human trafficking? Could prisoners have been kept there? Could this have been a hidden dungeon? The more you think about it, the more questions pop up. Because if this tunnel was built for a reason, and someone went through so much effort to hide it, then whatever happened down there had to be something big. Is this evidence of a hidden part of British history? We all learn about history in school. We hear about kings, queens, wars, and revolutions. But here's the thing. History is always written by the winners. What if there's another side to British history that we've never been told? If this tunnel was never meant to be found, then it's safe to say that it was part of a secret. But what kind of secret? Could it be something that changes what we thought we knew about Buckingham Palace? Maybe this tunnel was used during a time of crisis, and no one ever documented it. Or maybe it was deliberately erased from history. If that's the case, we have to ask, why? What was so dangerous about this tunnel that people wanted to pretend it never existed? Could it lead to another part of London that was once a secret meeting place? Could it be connected to old government dealings? Or could it be something far more mysterious, like a hidden underground network that only a select few knew about? The fact that no one spoke about this tunnel before means that someone wanted it to stay buried. But as we all know, the truth always comes out. Government cover-ups. Now, let's talk about the government. If something this massive was just discovered beneath one of the most famous buildings in the world, why haven't we heard about it in the news? Could it be that the government is trying to cover it up? It wouldn't be the first time governments have hidden information from the public. And let's be real. If this tunnel holds something really shocking, do you think they would just tell us right away? Probably not. Imagine if this discovery exposed something that could change the way people view the British monarchy. Imagine if it revealed something about past kings and queens that would make people question everything. That would be a huge scandal. So what does the government do in situations like this? Simple. They keep quiet. Maybe they've already sealed off the tunnel. Maybe they're investigating in secret. Or maybe They've known about this tunnel for years but didn't want the public to find out. But here's the real question. Can they really keep something this big a secret forever? In today's world, where information spreads like wildfire, it's only a matter of time before the truth comes out. Could it be tied to a major historical event? History is full of mysteries, and some of them might just connect to this tunnel. What if it played a role in a major historical event? World War II. During World War II, London was a city of spies, hidden codes, and secret operations. The British government built many underground bunkers and escape tunnels during this time. Could this be one of them? Maybe it was an emergency escape route for the royal family in case of an attack. Or, what if it was used against the royal family? Maybe enemy spies used this tunnel to infiltrate the palace. Maybe someone important went missing through this tunnel, and that's why it was covered up. The Cold War. During the Cold War, intelligence agencies like MI6 and the CIA were involved in all kinds of secret activities. Could this tunnel have been a meeting place for spies? Maybe a place where classified documents were exchanged? Maybe even a place where someone was silenced forever? Ancient royal scandals. The British monarchy has seen its fair share of scandals over the centuries. Affairs, betrayals, even mysterious disappearances. Could this tunnel be connected to one of those stories? Maybe a secret lover of a king or queen used this tunnel to sneak in and out. Maybe a missing servant was hidden here. Or maybe someone was imprisoned down there and never made it out. There are so many possibilities, and each one is more terrifying than the last. How does this change what we know about Buckingham Palace? Let's be honest. When we think of Buckingham Palace, we think of royalty, luxury, and tradition. But this discovery proves that there's another side to this place, one that has been kept in the shadows. If this tunnel really is as old as it seems, then what else is hidden beneath Buckingham Palace? Could there be more tunnels? More secret rooms? Could there be an entire underground world that we've never even imagined? And if the people in power have been keeping this a secret for so long, what else are they hiding? This discovery doesn't just change what we know about Buckingham Palace, it changes what we know about history itself. Because if a tunnel like this can stay hidden for centuries, then what other secrets are still buried beneath our feet? Are secret tunnels under Buckingham Palace real? London is an old city with a deep, complicated history. Beneath its streets, there's another world. Hidden tunnels, forgotten passageways, and underground chambers that most people don't even know exist. Some of these tunnels are hundreds of years old. Others were built in secret and never officially recorded. One of the most famous underground places is the Tower of London, which has tunnels that date back to medieval times. These tunnels were used for escape, for moving prisoners, and even for smuggling goods. Some say they were also used for something much darker, secret executions that history tried to erase. Then there's Whitehall, the center of the British government. It has underground bunkers and secret passages built during World War II. Winston Churchill himself used these hidden tunnels to move around safely while bombs fell over London. And let's not forget Windsor Castle, one of the royal family's favorite homes. It has tunnels leading in and out of the castle, which some say were used by kings and queens as escape routes during dangerous times. There are even rumors that some of these tunnels connect directly to Buckingham Palace. Now here's the big question. If these secret tunnels exist in other royal buildings, why wouldn't Buckingham Palace have them too? In fact, there are stories about a tunnel leading from Buckingham Palace all the way to Whitehall. Some even believe there's an entrance hidden inside a well-known London pub called the Red Lion. The idea is that if the royal family or government officials ever needed to escape quickly, they could take the tunnel instead of going through the streets. But what if these tunnels weren't just used for escape? What if they were used for something else? Whenever we hear about secret tunnels, we usually think of exciting things. Hidden treasures, spies sneaking through the night, or daring prison escapes. But tunnels can also hide dark secrets. And the one under Buckingham Palace? It might have been used for something no one was supposed to see. Think about it. Why would such a tunnel exist? If it was just for escape, why keep it a secret for so long? There must be another reason. one that the public was never meant to find out. One chilling theory is that the tunnel was used to smuggle people, but not in the way you might think. There have been whispers, rumors, and old stories suggesting that tunnels like this could have been used to move prisoners, spies, or even enemies of the crown without anyone knowing. Imagine being taken into the palace and never being seen again. Could this tunnel be connected to something like that? And then there's another theory, one that's even more disturbing. Some people believe that certain underground tunnels in London were used for secret meetings, rituals, or activities that had to stay hidden from the public eye. These stories have never been proven, but history is full of things that were once dismissed as crazy theories, only to be revealed as true years later. So what was this tunnel actually for? Was it a simple escape route, a smuggling passage, or something much, much darker? Possible theories behind the tunnel. There are a few possible explanations for why this tunnel exists. Some make perfect sense. Others, not so much. But they all lead to one big mystery. Why was it kept hidden for so long? Was it built as an escape route? The most logical reason for a tunnel under Buckingham Palace would be to help the royal family escape if they were ever in danger. Think about it. If an enemy army invaded London, or if a revolution started, the king or queen couldn't just walk out the front door. They would need a way to leave without anyone noticing. History has plenty of examples of rulers using secret tunnels to escape. In France, King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette tried to flee during the French Revolution. But they didn't have a hidden passage, so they were caught and executed. Maybe the British monarchy learned from that mistake and made sure they had a way out, just in case. But here's where things get strange. If this tunnel was really for escape, wouldn't it be common knowledge by now? Wouldn't it be recorded somewhere in history? Yet, no official records mention it. So either it was built in complete secrecy, or it wasn't meant for escaping at all. Was it used for smuggling? Smuggling is another strong possibility. Throughout history, tunnels have been used to move illegal goods, weapons, or even people without detection. Imagine this. Long ago, before modern security systems, Buckingham Palace was receiving something or someone that couldn't be seen by the public. Maybe it was valuable treasure, rare artifacts, or even dangerous people that the monarchy wanted to keep hidden. There's also the possibility that spies use this tunnel. London has always been a city of espionage. During World War II and the Cold War, intelligence agents were everywhere, and hidden tunnels were the perfect way to transport top-secret information without being tracked. Could this tunnel have played a role in something like that? Or was it something even bigger? Could it be connected to other underground networks? London has an entire network of underground tunnels, many of which are still unexplored. What if this tunnel under Buckingham Palace isn't just one tunnel, but part of a larger system? We know that the London Underground, the subway system, has abandoned stations and secret tracks that the public isn't allowed to see. We also know that old buildings, like the Houses of Parliament, have underground passageways that lead to unknown places. So what if this tunnel connects to all of them? If that's the case, the tunnel under Buckingham Palace could lead anywhere, to another royal building, to a hidden bunker, or maybe even to a place that nobody has discovered yet. And here's a crazy thought. What if the tunnel is still being used today? Imagine walking through London, completely unaware that beneath your feet, something is moving. Something hidden. Something secret. Maybe that's why the FBI got involved. Maybe they didn't just find a tunnel. Maybe they found something inside it. Something that wasn't supposed to be found. But what do you think? Was this tunnel an escape route? A hidden prison? Or something even darker? Do you believe the royal family knew about it? Or is there an even bigger cover-up at play? Let's talk about it in the comments. I want to hear your theories. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of history's most mysterious discoveries, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. There's so much more to uncover. Everything changed on February 10th, 2005, when Charles and Camilla announced their engagement, a moment that captured headlines and public interest. Camilla humorously shared that Charles had indeed gotten down on one knee to propose. The engagement was warmly welcomed by the royal family, with William and Harry expressing their happiness for the couple. The wedding, held on April 9, 2005, at Windsor Guildhall, was a modest affair. They chose a simple ceremony with close family and friends, foregoing the typical grandeur of a royal wedding. The Queen did not attend the ceremony, but joined the couple for the blessing at St. George's Chapel afterward. In the wake of Diana's death in 1997, Charles and Camilla found their romance rekindled amidst public mourning and media scrutiny. This period was fraught with challenges as they sought acceptance. In 1998, a teenage Prince William had an uncomfortable meeting with Camilla at St. James's Palace, a crucial step in her gradual introduction to the royal family. Initial interactions over lunches and teas were awkward but necessary. Queen Elizabeth II was initially resistant to Camilla, dubbing her "that wicked woman." However, by 2000, her stance softened, and she dined with Charles and Camilla, subtly signaling her approval. Public appearances followed, with a significant one in January 1999 at a birthday party for Camilla's sister. Arriving separately but leaving together, Charles and Camilla's public outing created a media storm, paving the way for Camilla's acceptance. By the Queen Mother's funeral in 2002, Camilla stood by Charles, solidifying her role as his partner. She also embarked on her first solo public engagement that year, a critical move in her royal journey. By 2003, Charles and Camilla had moved in together at Clarence House, signifying their serious commitment. On February 10, 2005, Charles and Camilla announced their engagement, a moment of public and media excitement. Camilla shared that Charles had indeed proposed on one knee. The engagement was warmly received by the family, with William and Harry expressing their support. The wedding on April 9, 2005, at Windsor Guildhall was understated and intimate, attended by close family and friends. The Queen skipped the ceremony but attended the subsequent blessing at St. George's Chapel, showing her support. The journey of Charles and Camilla, marked by rekindled love, public scrutiny, and gradual acceptance, culminated in a modest yet meaningful wedding, symbolizing a new beginning for the couple. From scandal to crown, when Queen Elizabeth II passed away, the dynamics of the British monarchy underwent a significant transformation. Charles ascended the throne as King Charles III, and in a surprising twist, Camilla was named Queen Consort. This development was unexpected, especially considering Queen Elizabeth's initial reluctance to accept Camilla. Over the years, however, Camilla proved her loyalty and dedication, eventually earning the Queen's endorsement in a heartfelt message. This endorsement, which seemed unthinkable decades ago, marked a dramatic shift in the royal narrative, turning Camilla from a figure of skepticism into a respected pillar of the monarchy. The late Queen's public blessing underscored Camilla's journey and emphasized her commitment to the crown, encouraging others to support Charles and Camilla as they had supported her. The question of why Charles married Diana when his heart belonged to Camilla lingered in the minds of many. This dilemma highlighted the conflict between royal duties and personal happiness. Diana, trapped in a loveless marriage, suffered immensely, enduring years of emotional distress. Charles's marriage to Diana, despite his enduring love for Camilla, underscored the immense pressure and expectations placed on royal family members to prioritize duty over personal desire, often leading to profound personal sacrifices. The Tampon Gate scandal. One of the most notorious scandals in royal history erupted when details of a private phone conversation between Charles and Camilla from 1989 were leaked. Dubbed Tampon Gate, or Camilla Gate, this scandal was not just typical tabloid fare. It was a royal catastrophe. At the time of the call, both Charles and Camilla were married to other people. The conversation, however, was anything but ordinary, with Charles expressing a desire to be reincarnated as Camilla's tampon, a bizarrely intimate statement that somehow became public. This scandalous exchange made headlines under the sensational title, Charles and Camilla, the Tape. The People newspaper published a full transcript of their 6-minute conversation, and to add to the humiliation, audio of the conversation was also released. The release of such a private and intimate conversation raised questions about who might be responsible for the leak.
Kate Middleton gives a heartfelt speech about the mental health of children, insisting this is something I really do care about.
My own journey into understanding the importance of early childhood actually started with adults and not with children. It was about prevention. I wanted to understand what more we could do to help prevent some of today's toughest social challenges, and what more we could do to help with the rising rate of poor mental health.
While many philanthropists are known for supporting various causes by donating large sums of money and making brief public appearances, Princess Catherine prefers to take a more practical approach. She endeavors to meet the people in person, speaking with them and offering the encouragement they need. Because of these personal encounters, there are many stories of children who almost gave up on life but began to smile again after a friendly, unexpected visit from the princess.
Kate Middleton made an appearance to open the redeveloped children's center at the hospital, and she was greeted by fans outside. One little girl gave her 2 stuffed bears.
What happened during these visits? What did she say to them? Join us as we explore some of these heartwarming stories and the many deeds of Catherine Middleton. Craig's big moment with the princess. Catherine Middleton is known for getting deeply involved in various charities, with many efforts focusing on children's mental health, early childhood development, and the family's well-being. Many of her initiatives highlight these commitments, such as the Royal Foundation for Early Childhood, aimed at helping parents and older people understand the importance of early childhood experiences. Unlike many philanthropists, Catherine is known for directly getting involved in humanitarian efforts as much as she can. This was made evident in January of 2018, when Catherine and her husband traveled to Coventry to catch up with royal appointments. Among these engagements were a visit to the city's cathedral, a renowned cafe built to provide work opportunities to recovering addicts, and Coventry University's new science and health building. Catherine and her husband were familiarizing themselves with the Positive Youth Foundation.
William and I are absolutely delighted to be with you here in Birmingham on World Mental Health Day for our Royal Foundation Youth Forum. William and I continue to be inspired to see young people, like you all here today, leading this charge.
An initiative formed to help young people get better careers and opportunities. It was then when they came across a little boy who looked sick. Upon seeing the boy, Catherine immediately got involved, walking over to him and handing over a sick bag. The boy's eyes widened as he saw the Princess of Wales gently placing her hands on him to make sure he felt better. Craig Skipper, the 10-year-old boy, had begun to feel sick after waiting 3 hours for Catherine and her husband to arrive. And when they did arrive, the child was looking tired, like was about to faint. Concerned about the young boy, Catherine bent down to talk to him. With concern in her eyes, she had gone to one of her bodyguards and returned with a brown paper bag for the boy. Thankfully, the boy didn't need it, as he felt better not long afterwards. To the Princess of Wales, this was just one encounter out of several, but to the young boy, this would be a moment he would never forget. Carol Flynn, a learning mentor at the nearby school, spoke about this, stating how Catherine took her time with Craig. It was obvious she was a mother. According to Flynn, she could almost see the love in her eyes at that point. This moment highlighted her instinctive caring nature for children, but it wasn't the only time something like this happened. Solving puzzles with the princess. Catherine's motherly nature was most apparent when she joined the pupils of St. John's Church of England Primary School in a craft lesson.
The Princess of Wales talked with young students about connecting with others and experiencing different feelings. She sat down with children from St. John's Church of England Primary School in Bethnal Green, London's East End, and joined them for a craft lesson.
She got to work with the children, solving puzzles and building blocks as she talked to them about mental health in the simplest words they could understand. As she worked with the children, she asked each of them how they coped with their emotions. The princess had supported the various charities that established the Children's Mental Health Week, a period set apart for different activities aimed at helping children achieve and enjoy complete mental and emotional well-being. This period was established in 2015, with a mandate for all week schools, families, and youth groups to get involved in the initiative. Catherine had shared her convictions about this multiple times, stating it as very good for emotional health and well-being. The princess stated she was a firm believer in giving children the tools needed for navigating the mental issues that come with growing up, and she demonstrated that in this encounter with the children. During the crafts lesson, a young boy told the princess how connecting helps him express how he feels to people around him,
The project while working is connecting with others.
And why is that important, do you think?
Connecting releases our emotions to your other people that you care about.
Absolutely.
After the princess responded, another classmate spoke about how she coped with her strong feelings by taking deep breaths and drinking some water. When the session came to an end, Catherine encouraged the children to always express how they felt to those who cared about them, while asking others to do the same as well. Today, Princess Catherine is known for providing the funding needed to run several hospitals and caring homes. Among these centers is the Evelina London Children's Hospital, whose efforts in providing healthcare services to children and young adults have been praised by the royal family. As we shall see, each of her visits to these hospitals made headlines. Catherine's hospital visits and experiences. Perhaps the most notable of her visits to the Children's Hospital was in December 2018, when Catherine and her husband announced they would be patronizing the establishment moving forward. This brought smiles to the faces of many, and the event was marked by Catherine's interactions with the children receiving treatment. She showed great empathy to the little ones, putting them at ease at a time of great distress. She also spoke with some of them about their experiences by offering words of comfort and encouragement. Being very practical in interacting with children, Catherine took part in various activities. She joined them in making decorations and pictures, creating a peaceful atmosphere that lifted their little minds. After interacting with the children, Catherine took the time to speak with the hospital staff, appreciating them for their hard work and dedication to the young children. The Princess of Wales made her next visit in February 2019 to celebrate the hospital's 150th anniversary. As usual, she joined the children in making birthday cards for the hospital, bringing attention to the establishment's history, latest achievements, and ongoing efforts to help children across London and beyond. It was celebrated in grand style, and her next visit was scheduled for the following year, but something unexpected came up. As we all know, the pandemic of 2020 triggered a lot of restrictions around the world, and London was not an exception. So the princess had to adapt to the times by engaging with the hospital virtually. Wanting to provide comfort and entertainment at a difficult time, Catherine took part in a virtual storytelling session with the children watching from the hospital. She read stories from different books to the little ones as they listened with excitement. After that, she had a separate session with the hospital staff to discuss the challenges they had with the many restrictions that came with the pandemic. She encouraged them to keep pushing forward while expressing her gratitude, promising to keep supporting the hospital as she always had.
Over the last 9 months, the pandemic has been a worrying time for us all. We've experienced isolation, loss, and uncertainty. But in the midst of this crisis, we've also seen huge acts of kindness, generosity, and empathy.
Aside from this, Princess Catherine has also been a patron of East Anglia's children's hospices. Known to many as EACH, the charity offers care and support for children with life-threatening conditions, along with their families across East Anglia. She became the royal patron in 2012, early in her role as Princess of Wales. This decision was influenced by her natural interest in children's health and the well-being of the family. This act alone helped raise the profile of EACH, bringing greater awareness about what they do and its importance. Not long after doing this, Catherine opened the Treehouse, a new caring home for the terminally ill, in March of that same year. It was one of her first single engagements, and it marked the start of her direct involvement in charity. There, she met with the families of the children, showing great empathy and helping them feel heard and understood. She ended the occasion with a heartfelt speech, showing admiration for the children's courage while explaining the importance of the EACH initiative. However, royal patronage was not enough to build these caring homes and keep them running at full capacity. Enter the fundraising campaigns, an opportunity for people who admire the works of the organization to get involved by their contributions. Catherine's presence has played an active role in supporting these fundraising campaigns, using her platform to encourage participation among those interested. Along with these attempts was the famous Nook Appeal, which was launched in 2014. It was a major fundraising campaign put up to build a new caring home with the latest technologies in Norfolk. Thanks to her influence, the campaign was able to raise the £10 million needed for the project to work. She attended the celebration ceremony in 2015 and returned 4 years later to open the caring home, now named after the campaign, The Nook. What followed was numerous attendances at galas and private events to raise awareness of the initiative and her numerous personal visits to the caring homes. Often carried out privately, Catherine uses the chance to connect personally with some of the children, participating in various activities including music therapy sessions and outdoor activities. Many caregivers at the homes have told stories of how children had given up hope before having a private visit from the princess. Afterwards, they become inspired to fight for their lives with smiles on their faces. For the parents whose children had the most terminal cases, Catherine offered a listening ear, doing the least she could do so they could at least feel heard and supported to the bitter end.